I'm Cruz Devon, and welcome to This Gay Life. This is our very first show, and there's a couple of things we wanted to say about why we're doing this and what we're doing. This Gay Life is all about presenting very positive images of gay people in our Springfield community, and that's also the greater Springfield community. And since this is our first show, we're kind of working on the low budget process, and so it's not quite as glamorous as we would like it, but it's, as we get going, you'll see more and more things that we can do. We would like to involve the entire community in this, not just the gay community, but the entire community, because we are part of the community. And we would like to ask you for your feedback. You'll see a number and an address at the end of the show, which you can write and let us know what you think of the show. And even if you have big criticisms or small, or if you just liked it, or if you just happen to see a second of it floating by when you're surfing the channels, we want to know what you think. And one of the ways we'd like to get you involved is we're having a contest, kind of, and we would like people or graphic artists, or even people who think they're graphic artists or whatever, to come up with some sort of a conception of a logo and send it in to our address, which you'll see at the end of the show. This logo contest it's kind of a fun thing, and it's not too serious, but we do want to get the best possible representation for ourselves here, and we do want to involve the community. So if you think you have a great idea for it, send it in, and like I said, we'll give you the address at the end of the show. We will be presenting positive images of gay people and gay life, and the one thing that we wanted to accomplish more than anything is because there's a lot of negative stereotypes in the media, and to define oneself only by those stereotypes put up by the media can be rather confusing, and so we would like to define ourselves, and that's what we're doing with this show. And today's show is going to be on a group called COHAB, Citizens Opposing Hatred and Bigotry, and our guests today are Brett Kensington and David Patrick. Brett Kensington is on the board, and David Patrick is one of the co-directors.
Correct.
And we're going to ask them a few questions about COHAB and learn a little bit about them. And how did COHAB start? What was its beginning seeds?
Well, Cruz, I guess the organization actually started last summer, 1993, and it was prompted by the beginnings of the campaign for the bias crime ordinance at that point. But it actually goes farther back than that. If you want to go back to 1989 with the Play a Normal Heart at SMSU, which created a really blown up an ordeal, really, about homosexuality and whether it should be presented by a public funded school such as SMS. And there was a lot of really distorted information, a lot of stereotypes, like you say, that were not at all true, and just a very negative approach to presenting gay and lesbian people in Springfield. And then in 1991, when the bias crime ordinance originally came up, again, we saw the same sort of negative attitudes presented. So COHAB really came from a group of people that wanted to present a positive approach to this and a more fair, equal presentation. Finally, Springfield is getting a positive voice about gays and lesbians in this town.
Hmm. Did they, were they started as like a political organization, or what was the real conception behind it, or the real force behind it?
Well, since we're at the beginning of an organization, I guess we're going to try to do everything. Politics sort of bring people out and energize people, but there's a lot of work that can be done, and since we've got this organization together, we're seeing more and more ways that we can accomplish things in more and more fields.
You were really visible during the bias crimes ordinance right before the vote. There was it almost looked like a juxtaposed between you and Paul Summers and his group and stuff like that. It was almost like a you against them type of thing, and it was made into kind of a circus almost. How did you feel about that?
Well, it was very new for us because, unlike the other side, we haven't had a lot of experience at this. We just started 6 months ago or so. We got started a little bit late on it, which did hurt us somewhat in the whole election process. But I think we did an excellent job, considering that we did get started late. We didn't have much money to work with, and we got some tremendous things accomplished. For one thing, we have a solid reputation established now in Springfield as a gay lesbian group.
Well, with that reputation, what are your plans in the short term? I mean, are you going to be doing more things, or what?
Yes, of course political activities will go on, but as I say, there's a lot of things that we could set our hand to. We've got some short-term projects going. We're thinking about, let's see, doing community service work. We're thinking about helping to build some wheelchair access ramps for various private buildings. Help me out here. Let's see. Oh, Habitat for Humanity.
Yes.
We're thinking about getting involved with them as a group.
KOZK Telethon
Oh, yes.
fundraiser.
Offering our services to KOZK during their telethon. And we're thinking about having a contingent in the St. Patrick's Day Parade. We think that'd be a lot of fun.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, that's a lot of stuff. It sounds like you're going to be really busy. What are your long-term goals? What do you hope to be accomplishing?
I would say probably the biggest goal that we have is an educational goal, a mission to educate not only the gay lesbian community about themselves and how to become more politically involved, how to come out in Springfield, because that's probably the most important thing that gays and lesbians can do in this area. It's very difficult to misunderstand, or it's less difficult, I should say, to misunderstand or to hate somebody that you know, if there's a real face there and a real person, rather than if all you've ever seen or heard are stereotypes or a hate message or a very negative image of a group of people. That's why we want as many gays and lesbians out there saying, yes, we are here and we are in the community. And that's probably our biggest long-term goal, is to have more of an open atmosphere in Springfield. Another thing is that we're planning on eventually, forming, obviously, an ongoing organization that will be around here permanently. I think Brett knows more about a community center. Maybe you want to talk a little bit about that?
Well, I wanted to insert something that my personal vision of what COHAB is going to do in the future is to encourage gay and lesbian people to claim their citizenship in Springfield as gay and lesbians and as citizens, and to encourage their fellow citizens to see them as citizens. We've been invisible for so long, and it's very important that people know that they know gay and lesbian people all the time, that they work with them, that they do business with them, that we do business with them, and that we're all here. Let's get together. Let's get going. We've all got a stake in the community. The community center, that's a very long-term thing. We're going to have to explore funding for that and so forth, but that would be a really wonderful thing to create here as a nucleus for our community and to provide services that are not now being provided in this area. It would have a political aspect, of course, but also it would have a large social aspect, and we also have social services that could be given to our community that aren't provided now.
With the service center and stuff, would that be like a library type of thing where people could check out information, or just like a collection of information, or?
That'd be one thing, would be a library, possibly a gay and lesbian study group, because a lot of people are very uneducated in their own history. And of course the general community is very uneducated in our history as well. We'd love to have a library of resources. Again, for that positive imaging you were talking about. People just, the library here has been, the public libraries are pretty good, but we feel like we could provide another resource. And then, there's other things. A lot of our medium-term projects could find a home in the community center. Like, we'd like to start a choral group.
Yes.
That's been very successful in other cities.
A choral group, like a mixed gay choral group? Or?
Right. Have a male and female mixed group that would perhaps go around and perform for whatever organizations,
That'd be
maybe
good
even
for you.
travel to some other towns too. I think there have been that sort of a liaison built between some of the groups in larger cities too.
What are your like long-term political goals? I know the amendment has sprung up its little head, or its little ugly head, and it was like right after the bias crimes ordinance was voted down. Summers was on there saying, yes, we have to get together and get this ordinance. Can you tell, I mean the amendment, can you explain a little bit about the amendment and why it's important to gay people and why we need to be concerned about it?
Cruz, this is probably, it's something that the gay community cannot get, they need to get very involved in this, very concerned about it, because it is setting a very dangerous precedent in this state and also in other states where this same type of an amendment is trying to be passed. What it basically says is that no state-funded organization may promote or protect sexual orientation, which is defined as homosexual, bisexual, as being any sort of, there's no basis for discrimination, no claim for discrimination, no legal claim. And what that basically does is it singles out a particular group and says, you no longer have the same rights as everyone else as far as due process of law, equal protection under the law. You can be fired from your job, you can be thrown out of your apartment, you can, campus groups at public funded schools can be kicked off campus. Protection ordinances that protect gays and lesbians in Kansas City, St. Louis, Columbia will be eliminated. In other words, gays and lesbians no longer have the same right. They become even more second-class citizens. I'm not going to get into the points where gays and lesbians are already discriminated against in the law, but this very specifically spells it out in our Constitution. And it's very dangerous, because where does it stop? You know, what group is going to be next after they have chosen this group? That's really what's scary about this sort of thing. And it's also scary because in states like Colorado especially, where this sort of thing has happened before, there's been a very big impact on their tourism and convention economy. They have lost a lot of conventions in Denver. I don't think Kansas City and St. Louis, either one, want to become involved in something like that. And I don't think that Southwest Missouri wants to become involved in a tourism war either, because we would lose big time there.
Well, how can, like the average person that is watching right now, they may not be involved in COHAB, they may not be involved in any political group or even want to be. How can they get involved, and what can they do to help in seeing that this amendment does not get passed?
On the very smallest level, they can absolutely make sure they're registered by November and inform themselves and be prepared to vote. They can also talk to family and friends about what this would mean in their lives if they're gay or lesbian. Aside from that, they can join COHAB, or they can join any of the statewide organizations. There's always room for another pair of hands and another voice, and it can be from something as simple to licking envelopes to getting out and becoming a speaker. There's no energy that would be wasted in this fight. We need everyone, and I think everyone should thoughtfully think about read the proposed amendment, think about that, the meaning that would have in their lives, and then decide what they want to do about it.
And speaking of joining COHAB, can you tell us a little bit about when you meet and where you meet and what time and all that? Give us a little bit of logistics on that.
We meet every third Wednesday at 7 p.m. on campus, and people can call the information number to get the information about the next meeting and so forth. And we're open. I want to emphasize that we are open to anyone who's interested in human rights. We're not exclusively a gay and lesbian organization, and we have a lot of non-gay members who are interested in human rights.
So anybody can join. Mm-hmm. And the number is 888
6927.
6927. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have a hard time with those digits for some reason. We'll be giving that out at the end of the show again, as well as an address. we have a couple more questions that have come up. If you want any more information, though, do stick around. Go get you a pencil. Get up right now. Go get a pad or something, and you can get down the telephone number and the address of how to get a hold of us here at Devon Entertainment, or how to get a hold of COHAB directly. And next week, we are going to be having a little bit of a different side. There is an organization on campus which is called Gala. They're kind of a younger set, the up-and-coming next generation, which will be very interesting to listen to them, and they will be explaining about their group and how they meet and what they do and what all about their particular group. And so you'll want to make sure that you stay tuned for that. And remember, you got to go get you a pencil and paper right now so that you can write down that telephone number and the address. Is there anything else that you'd like to tell us about COHAB?
Ooh,
Kind of like open it wide open there. I mean, anything that you think needs to be said, or, I mean, you guys have fun too. You guys just don't get out there in March.
That's
I know
that's
that.
one thing we want to do in the next few months. We've been too serious the last 2 or 3 months. We've had our nose to the grindstone. We've really been going on this election thing, but we want to have some fun now in the next couple of months. In addition to our community work, do some things like potlucks and some parties and.
Oh, we're having a fundraising auction. Well, we will, when this is aired, we will have had a fundraising auction. It'll be our second one, and these have always been lots of fun.
We have a gag auction that's,
Yes,
that's usually quite funny.
Amazingly useless bits of... We all clean out our attics, and it's for a good cause, you know.
Being politically active, you can't have a sense of humor, I would.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's, well, it's like Emma Goldman said, you know, if I can't dance, I don't want to come to your revolution. So.
That's good. That's good. Let's see. I guess I should go over some of the other things that are going on. We have the time. The next COHAB meeting is when?
It'll be the third Wednesday
In March.
in March,
March.
at 7 o'clock at Kemper 102 on
Kemper.
the SMS campus, and that's where we meet every month on the third Wednesday.
And those are always really.
They're always
They're
interesting.
good.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the
And,
subjects that come up are just really you hadn't
and we
even thought of.
found what's really heartening to me is that we're getting a lot of input from people outside the immediate Springfield area in the southwest Missouri area. And we hope to be, I hope it's not too ambitious, COHAB isn't going to be just a Springfield organization. We hope to be outreach to the whole southwest Missouri area because...
Regional.
Regional, yeah,
Very regional.
there are other groups,
Right.
you know, but, well, eventually, you know, maybe we can have some kind of Southwest region conference. That'd be fun.
Because we
Yeah.
do communicate regularly with these other groups. I know I keep in touch with a person in Joplin that is trying to get a group organized down there, and so we're looking for some more friends to build alliances with in this area, because the rural areas are really going to be what determines this amendment vote. They found that out in Oregon and Colorado both, that you can't just depend on Kansas City and St. Louis to win it for us. That's not going to be all of the votes by any means. The majority are still out there in the rural areas, and we need to try to reach those people and let them know the reality of what this amendment means.
And it's kind of exciting to be in on the ground floor of a grassroots movement. I think people tend to discount that. I mean, the people in St. Louis and Kansas City have been doing this for years, and I think maybe they may even be a little tired of it, you know. But we're just starting, and it's really exciting. It's really fun.
Well, I've heard it coined in some ways as we're making history. We're doing the first of a lot of things. I mean, one thing, this particular show is the first that I know of in the area, but I could be wrong, so don't quote me on that. But I mean, there's a lot of firsts. I mean, as far as like standing up at the town meeting and talking about the bias crimes ordinance and becoming visible and stuff like that.
There's a real adrenaline high that goes with that. You know, it's a very exciting thing to be in on this. And I think people that are sitting at home wondering what they're going to do next Tuesday ought to consider joining us and finding out what it's like.
Well, or at least consider coming to the meetings, and and even if you're not brave enough to like come to a meeting yet, at least call and find out about COHAB, because they do have a telephone number and they are reachable, and they'll give you information. Someone wonderful will call you back and talk to you about it. And it's really important that we all outreach to one another and create this sense of community, because it's very important for all of us to keep in touch with each other, and not just within the gay community, but also within the community at large. That's how we're going to actually start, becoming a viable force. There's other shows coming up that we would like to do, but I'd like to get your input on that. So if you'd like to write me, guess what's coming up? Yes, it's the address, and I want you to write in and let me know what you think. And if you have an idea for a show, if you have an idea for an introduction, or if you have something else, there's the address right there, P.O. Box 1434, Springfield, Missouri 65801, or you can call the COHAB line. It's 888-6927, and you can leave your name there and somebody will get back to you. If you'd like more information about COHAB, be sure and call them. I mean, they would love to talk to you. And remember the contest. I mean, that's going to be a real important thing, I think, of getting people involved. If you have even just a slim idea and you're not an artist, remember, send in your ideas, because it could be the one thing that we really want on the show. And more than anything, we want your input, and to let us know that, yeah, you're out there, you're watching, and we're not sitting behind this camera and nobody's watching. Wouldn't that be awful? I think the only two things that scare me the worst would be silence and apathy, and we need to really overcome those two greatest sins of ourselves, and learn to speak up and be out there and be viable, and let the community know that we're out there. Is there anything else you'd like to say about COHAB, as far as like anything else that's going on with y'all, or?
Oh, just watch this space. We're going to be doing some stuff, and if it looks like enough fun, maybe people will join in.
You were talking about those short-term things, like building wheelchair ramps and other activities like that. Is there any particular person they need to talk to, or is there anybody in charge?
If they'll just call the COHAB line and leave their name and number and say, I'm interested in these community projects, or I want more information, we'll get back to them and say, yes,
Yes, they really
let us tell you all about it.
Yeah. Well, does anybody need any specific skills for that? Are you going to have somebody in charge that know what we're doing?
It's very simple,
Yep.
kind of carpentry. It's very, the directions are very clear. What we basically need are people that will come out and do it.
And the same thing for like writing letters and any type of other.
Yeah. It's amazing how quickly you pick up these skills. You start thinking that, oh, I can't do that. And of course you can, and you're doing it within a couple of weeks, and you're just amazed at yourself.
And it's also a neat way to learn things that skills that you've never tried before. And you can discover that you have abilities you never realized you had. I'd say Brett here has really discovered some great public speaking ability.
She can talk.
That you sure can.
In public, yes.
And so it's a neat way to, it's kind of a on-the-job training without the pay,
And very empowering.
Well, yeah,
and resume items, my golly.
Exactly. I mean, you never know what you're going to discover through this sort of an organization.
And I know a lot of the just the personal relationships between people has been pretty fantastic. My involvement in COHAB, I met a lot of people throughout the entire community. Everybody from like Rabbi Rita to goodness knows everybody. It was fantastic. The interpersonal relationships. There were so many people. It felt so good to have that many people around you supporting, the same thing, and it felt really good. And I really have to urge people that if you've never been involved in a group, or if you've had a bad experience with a group or something, then you need to get over it, because there are really good groups out there that are very empowering and help us feel like we're a viable group, that people really do like us. They're not trying to throw bricks at us all the time. So anyway.
If I could inject a rather trivial thing, I found that political activism is great for weight control. Oh. You drop weight like you just don't believe. So I'm thinking about writing a book, actually.
Political activism for weight control. Yeah. Just teasing. Just teasing. Another reminder about the next show will be Gala. And if you have any ideas, make sure you give us a call. And everything from, this is just the beginning of the show, and so we're kind of like trying to do it with everybody's input. And I can't tell you how extremely important it is that we get to hear from you. And if you didn't get to see the first show, I know it runs 3 different times, so maybe you'll catch the second or the third, and maybe call your friends and say, hey, check this out. This is the first thing that we've done here, and for better or for worse, it's with your input we can make it better and better. And I'd like to kind of go over again the addresses, because I think that's real important. And I know you've got your pen and pencil by now. So the address to send for information is P.O. Box 1434, and that's Springfield, Missouri 65801, and the telephone number is 888-6729.
6927.
See, did it again, 6927. Now, if you wrote it down wrong the first time, it's my fault. I apologize profusely. And don't forget the contest, because we really want to get a really great logo, and we want everybody's input on that. So even if you're not the greatest artist in the world, make sure you write in for that. Also, I want to thank COHAB for being here, and for showing up on short notice and talking with us. And it's been my pleasure to work with these people and to get their input on the show. This show actually was kind of a brainchild that grew out of necessities that came up through working in COHAB, and there's just a lot of things going on right now, this being one of them. I can't stress the amount of input we do need from you, though, and if there's anything, let us know. And
we'd like to thank you, Cruz, for having us here, and also for doing this show. We know it's a lot of work, and it takes a lot of courage to do this. This is a big first in Springfield, and we are very, very proud of you for taking that step.
Oh, we'll go on with you.
You mean a lot to us.
Oh, I'll bow later. I really thank you, but please give us some input. We really need it, and thank you for joining us. Remember, the name of the show is This Gay Life. It's all of our contribution to this community. Make sure you give us, a line, or call us and let us know for sure. And thank you for being here, David and Brett. And remember, call the number, which is 888-6927, or, I got it right, or write us, P.O. Box 1434, Springfield, Missouri. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.
That wasn't bad at all.
No.